My sister believes her pregnancy is more important than my chemo treatment and got upset when I asked her to stop being so negative with me. I, 34F, got diagnosed with ovarian cancer a few months ago and have been going through chemo since. My sister, 29F, announced she was pregnant about a month before I got diagnosed. When I broke the news to my family, she called me after to say it was rude of me to drop such bad news onto everyone, right after she announced something so good. I told her I wanted my friends and family to know so I could have support, but all she had to say was, "What about me?" I assured her she would still have everyone's support, as well as mine, as I love her and don't want her to think she's alone. She told me that was nice to hear and let it go. These past few months though, I have noticed that she doesn't share any good news with me, only bad. Like she'll post about the baby's first kick and new baby things they bought, but then she'll call me in the middle of the night, freaking out about having the baby and how much anxiety she has and how swollen her feet are. I don't mind helping my sister, of course, but it seems like I'm only getting the negative aspects of her life. I also check on her a few times a week to see if she's doing all right, and not once has she asked me how I'm doing, or if the chemo is even working. I understand she has a lot going on with hormones and worrying about the baby, but every time I try to tell her good news about myself, like when I learned my tumor is shrinking, she'll just be like, "Good for you. I'm currently in hell though." Even with bad news, like I'll tell her I feel sick and was stuck by the toilet overnight, she changed the subject to be about her saying she had it so much worse than me. I tried to talk to my husband about this, but he thinks I should just let it go, as having a baby is a lot. That ended up making me feel worse, as he has been so supportive of me through all of this, but he is also going through a loss, as we both wanted kids more than anything, and now I am incapable of having them. During dinner recently with the family, my sister and I were catching up as we hadn't seen each other in person for so long. This was the first time in weeks I felt strong enough to even leave my apartment, so it felt very special to me. But the entire time I was there she wouldn't let me get in a word edgewise. If someone asked me how chemo was going, she'd come over and talk about her pregnancy. Someone told me they thought I was looking better and they wished me well. My sister walked over and started pouting, asking why that person hadn't come up to wish her well too. It was all about her. I decided I had had enough as she was making me feel awful, so I pulled her aside and told her she needed to stop interrupting my private conversations, and I honestly needed some positive reinforcement. She got offended and asked why she wasn't enough. I told her she really hadn't been all that supportive of me, and honestly she has made me feel worse because she was putting all her negative feelings on me. She said I was lying and she never did that to me. I reminded her of a few weeks ago, when I was in the middle of getting chemo, literal poison being sent inside me. She got upset that I didn't answer my phone, and when I called her back right after, she snapped and asked why I hadn't answered. I asked if she remembered what she said, and I quoted it for her: "Your problems aren't as important as mine right now." I told her she's crushing me and I have my own problems, that she was doing too much, and while I'd love updates on her feelings and on the pregnancy, not at the current rate we were going, at multiple times a day or even week. My sister started crying at this point and ran into the living room where she made a whole scene, but pointing at me and screaming about how I just told her in private that her pregnancy didn't matter at all. At this point I had no more energy left, and just collapsed into a chair. I couldn't even defend myself against her claims. She went on a tangent about how toxic I am and even had the nerve to say that I deserve to get cancer, and I was clearly just jealous of her since she could have a kid and I never would. I started crying as she said that anyone who sided with me would never get to see her baby. Then she grabbed her husband and left. My husband rushed over with some water and tried to take care of me. It's been a few days now and I can't eat or sleep or move at all. I just lay there in bed and I just know my husband is at his limit as well. I'm starting to think I was in the wrong, and I should have just let everyone focus on the happiness of the baby and kept my mouth shut about how sick I am.